Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching. We're going to take the first few moments and wait for people to tune in. Also on Facebook, currently going to sharing the stream a little bit so people can see this. That's helpful. That's always helpful when you're, wanting people to see something. You usually want people to see it when you yeah, you got it. All right, let's see. I'm going to go to the SD Sidebook Facebook page, Sidekick Facebook page. Going to share it to a couple places. Going to copy the link. Got a couple people watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. So we did this last week. It was actually very therapeutic. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it again. And we are come watch and chat with us live. Yeah, just sharing the Facebook stream. Um, hey guys, Shane Hartline here. If you're watching if you're watching for the first time, wanted to say thank you. If you don't know who I am, that's totally fine. I'm not going to take too much offense to it. Let's see. It's tough for me on the streaming website to see. For some reason, it doesn't let me see certain Facebook names of people who leave comments. But somebody said, "I like your shirt. Thanks." I'm on a kick lately of wearing like very over the top, silly tropical shirts. I think they make me happy right now in this very weird time. And whatever we can, whatever we got to do, whatever we can do to keep ourselves happy. But yeah, my name is Shane Hartline. I am a actor, filmmaker, and since the age of 5 or 6, I have had spasmodic dysphonia. And some people that might be watching this might not know what spasmodic dysphonia is. It is a very, very rare neurological condition that affects your speech. Fortunately, I have a very mild case, but there are people that suffer. And the reason that I created this SD Sidekick platform, the reason I made the film Cookie, which people will be able to see towards the end of the year, is to raise awareness for SD. It's something that still needs a lot of awareness raised for it. Such a rare disease, obviously, with everything that's happening in the world, definitely is not at the top of the list of, you know, things that need direct attention, which is understandable. But there's a lot of promising things happening right now. I didn't dive into the article, but I did read that there was a grant put into place for a cure for abductor SD, which somebody asked. Yes, I do have abductor, but I also think I might have mixed SD. I don't know. Um, yeah, but SD is something I've kind of dealt with from a young age, which is very rare for most people to get it at such a young age. I've only met like one other person that's got it as young as I did. I got it when I was like 5 or 6, and then I wasn't diagnosed until I was like 10 or 11, and then ever since then it's been constantly me, experimenting with different things and treatments and all kinds of things outside of Botox. I was, to be quite honest, against it for such a long time. Um, and then around age 30, I experimented with it. I tried 3 sessions, wasn't for me, didn't like it, and that's okay. Because I encourage everybody with SD, do whatever works for you. Being that there's no cure, unfortunately, with this. I absolutely just encourage you, whatever brings you relief, whether it is a vitamin, whether it is Botox, whatever the hell it is, do that. Especially during this time. Unfortunately, something that sucks during this time is a lot of people are having some trouble being able to get the Botox. But you know, one of the reasons I created SD Sidekick is, especially for me when I was growing up with, learning about what this crazy thing that I've been, this crazy cards I've been dealt with the internet and everything. It was hard to find, oh, this vitamin helped me, and the acupuncture helped me, and you know now fortunately there are Facebook pages, all kinds of things. I encourage you guys to obviously join the Facebook groups, the private groups, spasmodic dysphonia group on Facebook, and there's alternative treatments for spasmodic dysphonia. I definitely encourage you guys to join those groups, but I wanted to create a page and a website that is a one-stop resource for really people new to SD that can go on this website, find a list of, oh, these are all the vitamins and books, and oh, acupuncture and hypnotherapy or whatever. Like, it eventually, I'm hoping it'll be just the ultimate resource for everything you can experiment with. Because if we don't have a cure yet, I'm hoping soon. I hope and I believe within the next 10 years, if they can invent a cell phone like this thing, then then I'd say in 10 years we should be able to have a cure for it. But until then, I think that uh, find something that gives you relief, uh, and stick with it. But yeah, that's what I hope this site will be in the future. And then I don't know what it'll evolve into. I hope that right now it is just a morsel of a resource, but I want to, of course, add more to the website. I want to create this, a community on Facebook that people can you know uh, ha- have uncensored vents and watch these videos that I don't know what they'll, this is still new to me too. This is more of a therapeutic thing for me, honestly. But I want it to be an uncensored take, of chatting with people about SD. Me coming on here maybe one week and just venting. I might need to. It's with people with SD, especially those that suffer with severe cases, know that you're happiest when you're having a good vocal day, and you're most depressed and frustrated when you're not. And it's frustrating but so true that our emotional states are totally connected to our vocal state. At least with me personally, i I know that when I'm having a good vocal day, I am happy as hell. And when I'm not, I'm really not. I'm frustrated and it sucks. And right now I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. I'm happy that I'm being able to talk to you guys. And so my voice is actually better than it was at the beginning of the day. Um, yeah, I'm getting a lot of Facebook comments, and on this website I use to StreamYard, it doesn't show me the people that are talking or that are leaving the comments. It just shows me the comments. So I do apologize if I don't personally address who are saying these things. But yeah, somebody said in the comments, amen, I can't talk at all right now. Yeah, and my heart breaks for the people that suffer with SD, and especially now that the world is kind of changing. Another thing we got to talk about before I get there, we've got a guest coming on here today, and this, I don't want this to be like a formal, this isn't right now. I don't know what SD Sidekick is going to become. But right now, I just want to chat with people, and it's not an interview show, it's not a podcast. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it'll become. Right now, it's just a vent, an uncensored vent session, because I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to come on here and I'm not going to push Botox. Again, nothing against Botox, but I'm just going to give my uncensored view on living with SD. And for me, it's a constant journey of experimenting with vitamins, and acupuncture and hypnosis and all these kinds of crazy things. But Julie Melody will be joining here shortly. She's written books and does a lot of breathwork Zoom sessions and a lot of great things for people with SD. So, I'm going to chat with her and I want to get to know her better because Yeah, she's doing great stuff. But what I was going back to saying was, right now, uh, the world is changing and everything is going to Zoom sessions and a lot of video based stuff. And for people with severe cases of SD, that is not comfortable, that is triggering, and that is, you know just, it's a tough setting to be in. So do what you have to do to make those things easier for you. Someone says MJ tincture helps me. Please, what is that? Let me know in a little more detail what that is. I'm going to try to hop over onto our Facebook. If you're watching, we have a private group for SD Sidekick if you want to join and discuss things. Let's see. Marsha posted the MJ tincture helps me. I'd love to know more about what that is. Um, but yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Feel free to head over to our public Facebook page for SD Sidekick and share this stream. I don't want SD Sidekick to be just strictly for people with SD, because I feel like that limits the awareness that SD could get. We want people to learn about this. I know that with the private screenings I've had for our film Cookie, it's been truly amazing how many people have come to me and been like, I had no idea about SD. And that's, why I'm doing all these things. Um, just as medical marijuana with Botox. Gotcha. That's your tincture. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, whatever works, whatever brings you relief. Julie in the comments on Facebook, hey Shane, it's Julie. Let me know when you're ready. Julie, whenever you want to hop in, feel free to. And we will chat and discuss all the cool shit you're doing. Pardon my language, guys. I'm a little vulgar. I'm a little vulgar sometimes, but I'd rather be myself than not. Ting. Um, yeah, so Julie will be on here in a second and we will chat with her. Looking forward to that. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions for Julie or me at any point, leave them in the chat and we'll definitely address them. And yeah, this is fun, man. Like, it's very therapeutic for me to get on here and talk to you guys and vent. But yeah, again, go to our public Facebook page for SD Sidekick. Be sure to share the page. And yeah, especially with people, that people are living with SD. And yeah, I think Julie is about to join us, so let's add her to the stream. Julie,
Hi, how are you, Shane?
good. How are you?
Good. Hi, everybody.
Thank you for joining. And it's good to. I'm excited to do this to get to know you a lot better. I know a lot of the digital, showcased version of Julie, but I'm excited to get to know the person a little bit more. How you doing?
I'm good.
Very
Hanging in
cool.
there just like everybody else.
Yeah,
This is
it's
the
a
same time.
it's a crazy time. How are you passing the time? How are you not going crazy?
Well, interestingly enough, I had started doing live breathwork events. And when all of this started, that nipped that in the bud.
Mm.
So it prompted me to develop an online version. And so I've been working a lot to get that perfected and make it happen. So
Awesome.
that's been a lot of fun,
Yeah, you've
and
been doing a lot. You've been
it's
doing a
given me.
lot of your Zoom. Tell me more about like, for somebody that is a little dumb to breath work. I don't know a lot about that world. Like, walk me through it. What would somebody be getting into, and like how would it benefit somebody with SD that might not know about how breath work can help with SD?
Sure. Well, probably to best explain that, it's probably good for me to go back to the beginning a little bit. I was diagnosed with SD in 1998, and I started to notice that I was having strange things going on vocally. And within about 4 months, I wasn't even able to string 2 words together. So I couldn't even say my name.
Mm.
And that was basically what my voice sounded like for the majority of the time that I had symptoms. And so I started looking for answers. It just didn't make sense to me that I could not correct the problem. I'd been able to speak a few months before that without any trouble.
Mhm.
And so I was looking for a way to get back there.
Mhm.
And
How for you, how do you think yours was triggered or happened? I know it's different for every person.
uh,
If you feel comfortable discussing that.
yeah, absolutely. I had gone through an extremely difficult time in my business,
Mhm.
and I was involved in a family business, so my personal life was affected as well. So everything was really chaotic for a pretty extended period of time,
Mhm.
and I kind of got through the worst of it, and I decided that I wanted to reclaim my life, and so I started this fitness program. I was actually in a fitness competition, and so I worked really hard, and I went from 12% or 24% body fat to 12% body fat
That's impressive.
in 12 weeks, and
Oh my gosh,
uh,
that's crazy.
I weighed 105 pounds. And at the end of my program, I was deadlifting 165 pounds. I was squatting 185.
I love it.
Never could bench 100. It really ticked me off.
Oh
Um,
man.
but
It's nothing, it's not a big deal. I mean, I've done it.
yeah,
Don't feel any cooler. It's okay.
but about a month after my program ended, I was doing circuit training, and I had a really intense session one night, and it felt like my body hit the wall.
Mm,
And in truth, it had.
mm.
And so within about 2 weeks, I started to notice that I was having vocal issues, and went in right away because it was odd. And so the rest is kind of history. So for me, uh, it was a combination of uh, prolonged unresolved stress, and the intensity of the workout program was just kind of the straw that broke the camel's back.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I knew early on that stress uh, was a trigger for a lot of people with SD. I
Mhm.
knew a lot of people with SD had histories of severe stress.
Wow.
And so I started looking at that early on. And very fortunately, I ended up figuring out that I had a stress driven thyroid conversion disorder. And once I treated that with medication, my voice popped back in. So 3 years after I was diagnosed, my voice was perfect. I had a great voice for 8 years. And doctor made a really minor adjustment in my medication. And that minor adjustment left me without a voice for 5.5 years.
Mm.
So uh, I'm really grateful for it, actually, because I had completely ignored the role that stress had played in the development of the disorder for me. And I had a lot of childhood trauma that I had not dealt with either. And so, very fortunately, toward the end of that relapse, I discovered breath work.
Mm.
And so, what I do with people is uh, I use a number of techniques. We approach it from a number of different directions to help people let go of the energy that's trapped in their body as a result of stress and trauma. And the really cool thing is that it doesn't matter whether it happened 5 minutes ago, 5 years ago, 50 years ago. Our body is actually designed to release trauma But because we're civilized and because we don't like being vulnerable and because we like to remain strong, um, we actually shut down our natural instinct to do that. So it's been really, really great to share those techniques with people.
Yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, on behalf of everyone, I want to just say thanks for doing this. I think that, I'm a big proponent on, because it's SD is so tricky. It's what works for one person might not work for the other. You
That's
know,
right.
what, you know, what you're doing might work for many people, might not work for some. But I think that I'm a big proponent on try everything. And if it feels good, if you notice a little thing like, oh, then lean into that.
Mm.
And so I definitely encourage everybody watching to, you're doing Zoom breath
Yeah,
sessions current. And
yeah.
when are you doing, because I know the days have been kind of different. When are you doing them?
Well, I've tried to set up times so that people from outside of the United States can access the sessions too. So we do them on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And we do them on Saturday afternoons at 12 p.m.
Awesome.
Eastern Time. So we um, we have about a 90-minute introduction to let people know what the work is, why we do what we do, and teach them the history of these kinds of techniques. And we really focus on educating them about the vagus nerve
Hmm.
because this work really helps to tone the vagus nerve. And I really didn't realize how connected that nerve is to our ability to produce speech, uh, but it totally is. It controls a number of functions in our body, but in particular, it controls our ability to vocalize and how our face moves.
Mm.
So that nerve is damaged by prolonged stress and trauma, and so we teach people during that first 90 minutes how to heal it. Um, and then we take a little break, and then we do about a 60-minute breathwork session.
Wow.
So,
That's
and some people are really under a lot of pressure right now with being solely responsible for their children and not having much help. And so we encourage people to break that into smaller sections if they need to do that. So everyone who breathes with us needs to do that intro session in order for us to do the work responsibly. But they don't have to do that session the same day
hmm
that they do. And many people are returning and doing the breath sessions over and over again,
hmm
which provides the maximum benefit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I know you wrote you put out a book recently. It's on Amazon, Break the Stranglehold. That dives really deep into a lot of these things. What are some other, for me personally, I really lean into like experimenting with, acupuncture and different types of vitamins. What are some other things that you think that you know have shown you promising results, or maybe in the future is something that is something that might show some more promising results, as well as breath work? Like what does the future of SD look like for you, in
That's
your
interesting.
opinion?
I've got my eye on a number of things. And uh, in what we do, we do use breath work, but we approach it from a number of different angles. And so we incorporate meditation, and we use different forms of meditation. Because again, just like what you said, some things work better for some people and others for others. And so um, we um, we've built in a form of conscious movement into the process to help people reconnect with our bodies, because in our culture we're really cut off from our bodies in a lot of ways, and we deny a lot about what's going on within our bodies. Um, I don't know what will develop in the future, but I'm looking at some very specific types of movement meditations. I'm curious about vibrational techniques,
Mm-hmm.
um, and so I'm looking into that more. I'm
Was
very,
that the
very.
grant that just happened with the NSDA? I saw a grant was issued for to find or to do research on a treatment for abductor. Was that the vibrational stuff?
I'm not really sure. I kind of
Mm.
stumbled on it on my own,
Okay.
and so it just kind of makes sense to me.
Uh-huh.
But by all means, if they're moving in that
I
direction,
agree. Hmm.
check it out. So I'm also really curious about frequency
Mm.
healing, and
And what
so
do you mean by that?
the way that our bodies respond to specific sound frequencies.
Mm.
And so I'm just really beginning to look into that, but I think it eventually will be something that I incorporate in.
Hmm.
And so, right now we're limited to um, the um, the virtual meetings, but um, once things are up and moving again, and we can do it safely, we do 3-day live events and 5-day live events. And we incorporate, we've got a woman who comes in and she does a technique called Bowen therapy,
Hmm.
which is very gentle manipulations of the fascia. And that really calms the autonomic nervous system, which heals the vagus nerve, which helps us to feel calmer in general. And then we do some meditative art. There are other things that we incorporated to just kind of approach things from whatever direction will help. And I have to say, people feel so much better after using our techniques, that it doesn't it doesn't eliminate the pressure that they're under vocally, but it helps them to deal with it
Hmm.
better.
For sure.
So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, especially in this time, whatever anybody can do to, make their days go by better and happier and smoother and,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it's really awesome to get to know you. I think that anybody that is doing anything to help people with SD and raise awareness and, is all right in my book. I think that I it's tough for me, like I was discussing earlier, like, and I'm really working on this personally with SD. It is so directly connected to my emotional state.
yeah,
Um, when I'm having a good vocal day, I'm the happiest guy on the world in the world. Like, and when I'm not, I don't want to talk to anybody. Like I just and that frustrates me that it has that much control over me and
sure.
I don't have control over it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any advice for? I know people are in the comments are saying they agree with that sentiment. So what do you have any advice? Like, I know it's something we've all struggled with, and I don't know. There's no answers, but like, what advice would you give to someone like me that to take more control?
I think it has a lot to do with stress. And what I discovered when I was symptomatic was that things that I did that were stressful in any way impacted the quality of my voice.
Mm,
And so I would go to the gym and do a workout and thinking that that would help me feel better. And I'd pay for it vocally for 2 weeks.
interesting.
So what I figured out, at least for me, was that our bodies can't distinguish between, for lack of a better word, good stress or bad stress. It's just all stress.
Mhm.
So I would say, the more that you can do to eliminate or um, address stress in your life, the better you'll feel.
You know what's funny about that? I'm learning something about myself recently, and it's not rocket science. I oftentimes tell myself, Shane, duh, this makes complete sense. But I've found myself in this cycle of I over consume caffeine, and I know that that has an adverse effect on my voice. I know that. I'm not dumb to that. But what I do know is that it makes me feel good. And
Right?
so it's this vicious cycle of this like I want to feel good, but I know it's having an adverse effect on my voice. So I get in this spiral of over consuming what I know is my personal limit,
Mm,
usually. So that's a whole nother topic of discussion, like
it
things
is.
that you do to chemically maybe make yourself feel better that might be having an adverse effect.
Well, so in our society in general, we tend to spend more time in our sympathetic nervous system instead of in our parasympathetic nervous system. And
And
they work together.
for dummies like me, sympathy. Explain that to me. And sure.
So the sympathetic nervous system is it triggers the fight, flight, or freeze response.
Okay.
So we need it. We need to be able to respond to a threat and successfully, and having the ability to do that ensures our survival. But the parasympathetic nervous system works in conjunction with the sympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for um, rest and digest types of
Mhm.
activities, for feed and breed activities. So we have to be kind of in uh, using those systems in concert. Now,
Mhm.
some of the things that we do to make ourselves feel better and to try to get back to the state that our parasympathetic nervous system supplies us with don't work long term.
Mhm.
So, um, overusing caffeine, drinking too much,
Mhm.
self medicating in other ways,
Mhm.
they can make us feel like we're going to that parasympathetic state, but it backfires on us. So, in our society, there's so much pressure. There's so much coming at us on a regular basis that it's really easy for us to get stuck in that fight or flight response. And so, yeah, anything that we can do that's calming, that helps us relax, um, is good for us in general, whether or not we have a condition that we're dealing with.
Sure.
So,
Sure. Another thing that I personally struggle with ST related is to be completely transparent is I don't ever give anything probably the amount of time I should, when by that I mean like when I, am experimenting with vitamins or acupuncture. I'm the type of personality, and I know it's wrong, but like I know when I'm not seeing fast enough results, I get frustrated and abandon ship. And I'm working on that. I'm trying to change that about myself. for, I really want to hope I it's funny, I have quarantine, you'd think that I'd have all the time in the world, but I've been more productive and busy during quarantine this year than sometimes outside of quarantine, which is great. But like, I want to find the time to attend your workshops. But for other people, how, like, I know that it's nothing with SD is a quick fix, but like, in your experience, when did you start, with breath work? When did you start feeling results, or is it something you start feeling kind of changes immediately? I don't know. What? Tell me more about that.
That's really interesting because it's different for
Sure.
different people.
Yeah.
So some people will have one session and they'll have some kind of breakthrough. And then other people, it's kind of more like um, peeling the layers off an onion.
Yeah.
And so uh, I guess the way that I look at it is this, that I know in my own case, the physiological changes in my body that set me up for developing SD happened over an extremely long period of time.
Hmm.
And I was a very stoic person and carried a lot of stuff and for a very long time. And so it's not that it's going to take forever to feel better or to get better, uh, but it takes some time. And so it's counterproductive. And you're acknowledging this to switch gears and try something else because uh, when I was doing the T3 treatment program
Hmm.
that initially resulted in my vocal recovery, I did it for 6 months. And over that 6 months, I had absolutely no evidence whatsoever that it was working.
Mm.
And the way that I motivated myself through that was I thought about a seed that you plant in the ground. And for a long time, that seed is there in the ground. You can't see it. You can't see that it's germinating. There's no evidence that it's about to break through the ground until it does.
Hmm.
And so that was the picture that I kept in my mind. And that's exactly the way that it was for me. One day I could not speak, and the next day I could. And I kept thinking to myself, what if I had stopped? What if I had stopped 2 months before that?
Hmm.
What if I stopped the day before that? I might never have gotten there.
Hmm.
So I really wrote my book to uh, get that concept across to people and to I felt like it was important um, to use my voice to tell people that recovery from SD is possible.
Mm.
We hear so much about how it's not, and I really think that having that belief that there can be a change and that you can heal is really the major step that we take to get toward recovery.
Mm.
Having that belief is motivating. It helps you find what works for you.
Yeah. Um, I had a thought and I lost it because I was so into what you were saying. Um, oh, I know what I was going to say. Jim Bostock out of Australia is doing a lot of the same type of work on the vagus nerve and really working on mindset work and trying to get people in the right frame of mind to tackle SD the right way. And I hope that I can have Jim on here soon. I was fortunate enough in the beginning of 2018 to fly to Australia and work with him personally, which was so awesome. Jim is such a just really just a cool person, and he's doing
Yeah.
such great things. And so I encourage also people to go check out his vocal freedom program. We got a question. I don't know why on this StreamYard website it doesn't show some of the Facebook users that ask questions, but a question for Julie. I came in as just you were saying something about your thyroid. I'm hypo. What medicine helped you and your voice?
Well, so that's a little complicated in that I was hypothyroid as well, uh, but all of my thyroid blood work was normal. And so I had acceptable levels of thyroid hormone in my blood, T4. My TSH level was normal, but I had symptoms of extreme hypothyroidism. And so initially, my doctor put me on a T4 medication. Initially, I took Synthroid, and then I took Armour Thyroid. And when I when I took those medications, I developed symptoms of hyperthyroidism and was almost in a thyroid storm. So
How did that
my
make you feel?
oh, it was horrible. Like my heart would start beating 160 beats a minute,
Oh,
like that. And I ended up in the emergency room 3 times thinking I was having a heart attack. I
oh,
was 40 years old. It was crazy. So, well, like 42. So, what I ended up discovering was that I obviously taking T4 medication wasn't working for me, but I was still hypothyroid and I still had to figure out a way to do something about that. So I ended up finding a website online. It's called the Wilson Temperature Syndrome website. And it talked about a disorder that doesn't show up clinically. So it doesn't show up through blood work. Um, and it affects people whose, it primarily affects people whose ancestors have survived famine.
hmm,
And so basically, people in that genetic group, uh, their body, they can get stuck in situations where their body does not convert T4, which the thyroid manufactures, to T3, which is the usable form um, in the body. And so I knew that I'm primarily Irish, and I knew that I had ancestors that had survived the potato famine, uh, and uh, and that condition is generally triggered by stress.
hmm,
And so a lot of times people will lose the ability to convert T4 to T3 after a severe auto accident or after losing a family member, after a pregnancy. Uh, there are all kinds of stress related triggers for it.
hmm.
And so they have a very specific protocol that's not easy to do, but it is doable. And I use that protocol to
Hmm.
recover. So I talk about it in the book,
Hmm.
and I'm happy to send free copies of the book to anyone who private messages me. Um, but yeah, that's it's involved and it takes a really um, big commitment, but it restored my voice. So
Yeah, I read your book, and yeah, it sounded crazy. Such a long process. I definitely encourage people to check out Julie's book, and she said she would send a free copy. But if you can afford a copy, guys, buy the book. Buy the book. let's pop up this next question. Sue Payne, my fear is that SSDI will not accept this type of treatment to continue my disability. I am also long-term disability and am fearful of them not accepting alternative medicine. Any thoughts?
Um,
That's a tough one.
it is a tough one. It's actually great that you're able to be on long-term disability. So many people with SD beat their heads against the wall trying to get financial help, especially when it's so difficult for them to work. They have to jump through so many hoops, and you may have to get where you're at right now. Uh, I paid for a lot of the things that I used in my recovery out of pocket because there really wasn't any other way. My health insurance didn't cover the cost of the thyroid medication. I still pay for that out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there are alternative things that um, healthcare providers refuse to pay for. So I guess it's just a really personal decision about whether it's worth it to pay for an alternative treatment or not. And um, I guess the way that I looked at it is if I knew where I was going to be at financially if I didn't try to recover. And so it made it worth it to me. Any money that I spent was worth it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's kind of like
obviously,
that thought process of spending the couple extra dollars on the organic food because in the long term it'll save you some money from
yeah,
doctor visits, you know.
yeah. But I paid for acupuncture out of pocket. For me, I didn't notice a huge difference
Mhm.
using it, but I did feel better.
Mhm.
Uh, I did a really intense supplement program that I paid for out of pocket.
Mhm.
Didn't help my voice, but I felt amazing.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a tough. I hear you, Sue. That's hard.
Yeah, it's really tough. Well, Julie, I wanted to thank you, so much for taking the time to come on here and just chat with me, about
Thank
everything
you.
that you're doing.
Thanks for
Jen asked again what the name of the book is. It's Break the Stranglehold, and it's
breaking
on
the stranglehold.
Breaking the
That's
Stranglehold. It's on Amazon. I have it in the link in the description, or the link in the description of this live stream, so it'll take you
yeah.
right there. Definitely pick up a copy, guys.
And
And
if any
congratulations on finishing a book. That's really awesome.
I wrote that book. Okay, so this is a little off topic, but so I committed to write that book, and I did it through an author incubator program.
Okay.
And about 3 weeks into that program, they were going to help me write my book in a 9 week period of time. And about 3 weeks into that process, my husband was diagnosed with colon cancer
Oh, I'm sorry.
and well, he's healthy,
Good. Good.
but huge disruption, right? And so I ended up writing that book, 11 chapters and a prologue in 4 days. In
What?
in 4 days in July.
That's
And
amazing.
it went through an editing process after that, but I had the main content written in 4 days. So
That's amazing.
it was fun.
That is
It was
amazing.
intense for sure. But
Yeah, I mean, I've always said I want to, at some point write some kind of book, and I created this site and SD Sidekick community. I've said before that as I just want it to be like this one stop, a resource for everything people can try with SD, and whether that may turn into a book one day or whatever it may be, I don't know yet, but I just know that me personally in the past, it's like there's so many great places, of people that have said this has helped me, this has helped me, breath work, acupuncture, vitamins, but I've never found like one place. So I want to add more about what you're doing to the website, and but yeah, again, thank you so much for all you're doing and helping.
you
And
know, And I want to say thank you to you as well, because I really think that you're raising awareness about SD, and I think that's so important,
Mm,
because a lot of the things that people run into, in ways that they're mistreated, uh, have a lot to do with people not knowing what the heck that is.
100%.
And so I just have to say kudos to you for
Oh,
doing that, for creating this forum for people to look for options, and for um, supporting people in that.
mhm. That's
Um,
I mean, yeah, I it's funny, I waited so long to do something like this because I always put this thing on a pedestal of like I'm gonna, when I get famous enough or have a high enough awareness rate, with my acting or filmmaking, that's gonna be the thing I go for. And I still want to get to these milestones in my career, and I will. But I couldn't wait anymore. It just kept pulling at me like, Shane, you're being kind of selfish to wait, when you have every ability to uh to start doing this now. And so then it was like my first steps in was the into this Facebook group and asking people about, like, I kind of had this idea for this short film, and like the support was just like so overwhelming. And then I knew immediately that I was like making the right decision. And so yeah, and it's led me to meet such cool people like you, and such amazing people. Like before I started like my venture into the cookie and raising awareness, I had never spoke to anybody with it. I was the only person in my life that I had ever met and spoke
are
to.
you kidding? Wow.
In 32 years, I had never vocally spoke to anybody until Stephanie Longas, who is one of the producers on Cookie. I had a phone call with her, and we both made the realization, or I made the realization, I should say, that oh my God, you're the first person I've ever actually vocally spoke to with SD. So it's been such a crazy process. And Jen Cress on Facebook, I would love to help advocate Shane any way I can. JenCress.com, plug right there. Yeah, and that's what I want. I don't, it's like, it's funny, I keep saying I don't know what SD Sidekick is. But I know that I just want it to be just like this uncensored, just natural chat about SD. There's so much out there that's, which is great, that's filtered through doctors and all this, talk. But like, I just want to be like people talking about it and
Yeah,
raising awareness. And that's what I want it to be. And anybody that wants to come on and share their experiences, that's what I wanted to be. So again, Julie, thank you so much
my
for
pleasure.
hopping on.
My pleasure. And yeah, I want to give other people who might want to hop on a
Yes,
chance, but
please.
uh, I would just like to spread the word. If you want to participate in one of our workshops, just send me a private message on Messenger. I'll be happy to send you an invitation. The workshops are free, and we'll have one this Saturday at 12 p.m. That will be the next one. So I'll be happy to share that information privately with anyone who wants it. So
Awesome.
thank you.
Yeah. So again, yeah, Julie, anytime you want to hop on, I'm planning, I think I want to do these weekly, I'm loving it right now. It's like, again, I said, very therapeutic for me. So anytime you want to hop on in the future, just shoot me a message.
Okay,
Awesome.
fantastic.
Thanks for
Thanks.
coming on. See ya.
So good to meet you in this way.
Yeah, it really is. It's awesome. Yeah, again, guys, send Julie Melody a message on Facebook, and she'll send you an invitation to her Zoom breathwork class. It's one of those things, guys, I know I need to do. And I think we sometimes psych ourselves out, or we talk ourselves out of doing things that will, you know, help us because of the, work it might take, or that we might not see immediate results. But if you're not finding the relief you're looking for through other avenues, then just take a leap. It's nothing's going to kill you, and in fact, it'll probably make you feel really good after. So I encourage you, message Julie, hop onto her next breathwork class. And yeah, awesome chat there. So Let's hop over to the Facebook comments. This has been fun tonight. Claudia, Shane, you should do a movie on this. Oh, funny you say that. The good, the bad, and the ugly with the humor. Just most people are aware. Well, Claudia, funny you mentioned that because I actually have already. It's called Cookie, and it's a short film that you'll be able to check out by the end of the year. It's looking like, but it's currently off the festivals, and it's about a girl with SD. It's kind of my life story, but it's kind of everyone's story with SD, and making it completely change my life. No joke. So thanks for bringing that up, and I got to talk about my thing through your question. Um, let's see. Julie, you've always been a friend, says Claudia. Facebook user, only one in four of 100,000 people get SD. I don't know anyone else with it either. Yeah, it's crazy how rare it is. Like I said, I got it when I was like 5 or 6, and I still remember the moment that I got it. I was in choir at my preschool, and we were going around the rooms. Everybody was doing their vocal warm up notes things, and when it got to me, my voice just it's like it broke. It was almost the feeling, and I was so confused and didn't know what was happening and why it was happening or anything like that. And but I just knew that it was not normal and felt really weird, and didn't like it, and caused me a lot of yeah, a lot of kids are rude. But it was a comedy found me, and I was able to use comedy to make people laugh with me and not at me. But I spent so many years after, getting it at such a young age, but getting it that, we went through with me and my family and my parents for a period of time. I was just doing it to make a funny voice, and then it would go through periods of, oh, maybe he's just sick, or no, maybe his voice is just changing early to, oh, maybe we should get this checked out. And then finally, at like age 10 or 11, I got diagnosed, and it was one of those things when I wasn't freaked out because I had an amazing mother that you know kept me confident in that something, I'd find a cure and that something would happen. And I obviously was like, oh yeah, okay, something, I've got to find, some kind of cure for this. But yeah, there's no cure, as everybody with ST knows. That's a really frustrating thing about SD, is there's no cure, but fortunately there is treatments. There is things that bring you a lot of relief. My voice from back then to now is like 180. I have fortunately a very mild case at this point, and I wish I know what that has caused me to get to where I'm at, just so I could tell people like, hey, try this for sure. But I've tried a crazy cocktail of different things, not a literal cocktail, but all kinds of things, from acupuncture, hypnosis, regression therapy, vitamins, um, essential oils, hypnosis. I think I already said that. Botox, all kinds of things to find relief. Just I've always said, if I could just find that one thing that gives me the relief I'm looking for, I'd be fine. I'm not asking for a cure. I would love that. We all would, but I I've always wanted just that thing. So I'm always trying new things. I'm always hoping that that I can have just a good voice day, so then I can have a happy day. Because for me, which is freaking frustrating, is this is connected to this, and this is connected to this. So if this is having a bad day, then this is having a bad day, and then it just, yeah, it all just affects everything. But yeah, good chat, guys. I think I want to start trying to do this weekly. Anybody that has SD, anybody who lives with somebody with SD, come on and chat. I don't want this to be a formal, sit down interview and tell me all about your book and where can you buy it. Well, no, I want it to be just a chat with two humans or three humans, or how many people we can get on here, whatever it wants to be, and just vent. If you want to come on here and curse the world, I want this to be that place. I want this to be one of the first platforms with SD to have like an uncensored discussion. And what will this be? What will this go on to be? I don't know. Now we have Facebook pages. We have a public Facebook page that I just launched today. So if you are watching this, go like that page and invite anybody with ST, or if you live somebody or if you live with somebody that has SD or whatever, just invite people to the page so that they can start seeing when these streams happen. But if you want to get in on the discussions, or you have a platform to vent, we are one of many. We have one of many amazing private Facebook groups about SD on Facebook, but SD Sidekick has a private group that you can also find through the public page. But if you guys don't have any more questions, I'll probably wrap this up soon. I think I want to try to keep these at about an hour so I can. Well, I'm at actually my family's house right now, so I'm going to go hang out with my family because the world is shut down. California is shut down. The entertainment business might not get rolling till 2021. What a crazy time. What a crazy time. But yeah, again, before I wrap this up, um, check out Julie's book in the description of this video. Definitely pick up a copy if you can. Also, check out her Zoom breathwork session. Send her a message on Facebook. She'll send you a invitation totally free. I encourage you to check it out. But yeah, SD Sidekick, I'm hoping it's in the early stages of what it will become. I don't know what it'll become, but again, I have made this platform to be a one-stop resource for really people, anybody with SD, but people that are new to it that can come to it and um, find a list of things that will help them and bring them relief. Um, Kurt just said, thanks. I'll be here next time. I just got here. Totally fine, man. You can rewatch this too when it's finished if you want. Thanks for your sense of humor. It helped me tonight. No worries. I just I be goofy to hide the pain. Just kidding. That was dark humor. No, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Record numbers. It's only our second stream. Obviously, it's record numbers. Um, this was fun. We'll try to do this again next week. And again, I want to restate, if you do want to hop on here, chat about SD, please message me or email sdsidekickcontact@gmail.com. And I think with this platform that we use to stream, we can have up to 3 or 4 people. So yeah, let's just hang out once a week and chat and vent about this fucking frustrating thing that we have been dealt with. But it's all right. Let's try to find let's try to find the positive. Let's stay positive and find the humor in it, because it's the better avenue to take. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.